Hey friends, so we've been working really hard on getting all of our lettering, really figuring out what we like. So how can we embellish it? How can we make our creative wording come alive with extra details? So you can add dots anywhere. We could do clip art, banners, greenery, different types of swirls and adding different embellishments, big flowers, empty flowers, leaves, different styles of borders, more greenery and flowers. The other thing I'm going to send to you, I compiled a bunch of free items. So this is a bunch of banners that you can kind of look at, and we'll dig into how you create these. But I have 2 different sheets about banners and then 2 different sheets with flowers that will just give you some different ideas and kind of spark your imagination, your creativity there. So I'm gonna go ahead and do my favorite, and I'm gonna do an envelope. I love doing envelopes. I think it could be a really creative, fun touch. So I'm gonna grab a bright pen that can have a brush tip. You could also do a marker, anything thick. I love to do their name really big and then their address simple. So this pen is awesome. You can get it anywhere, and it has a thin tip and then the brush on the other end. So I'm gonna start off with their name. I'm gonna pretend I'm writing to someone named Beth. Okay, now believe it or not, this is actually acceptable. And then I have plenty of room over here to write what I need to. So let's pretend she lives here. So I did her street, and then I added her city and her state. And then a great way that you can make the ending beautiful is to take the 5-digit zip code and you space it out. Boom. And there you have it. You can put your return address here or on the other side down this way. And again, you can do that same fun here. I love to do things on the back too. So let's go ahead and make a flower. Let's pick something dark. So a fun flower, if we do this design here that we started with, you start with a triangle. A nice little triangle. Actually, let's make one on here so it's bigger. So I'd like for you to grab a piece of paper and you're going to make a triangle. Now your triangle is going to start small, but it'll get bigger and bigger, don't worry. So we're going to go from point to point and give 3 petals. Here's where it gets interesting. You're going to go from the middle of a petal to the middle of the next petal, and you're going to do a big jump. And I'm going to do it again. So my eyes are looking here where I want to end up. And I'm going to jump again. Now I have my triangle, my first 3, and now I have my outer 3. Now I'm going to do it again. I'm going to start here, and I'm going to jump to my next middle of that petal. I'm going to do it again. Now, if you want to start making them come further out away from your center, that's what's really going to give you that fun dynamic. Look how big my leaves are getting. I'll do one more. Kind of bring it back in. I messed it up there. You could tell that would have to stretch really, really far. But that is the basic part of this flower. So again, you start with the triangle, you connect those 3, and then you start over and you go to the middle of that next leaf. New row. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Remember, that's what makes it fun. That's what makes it have character. Whoa, baby. Then you grab a different shade of really any color you choose, and you can fill it in. Now, if you have brush markers like this, you can actually take water and almost turn it into a watercolor, and it could be a lot of fun. There was a Chick-fil-A event, a father-daughter dance, and they asked me to make some signs that were talking about the photo booth and the eating area, the dance area, and that's what I did. A bunch of pretty letters and then some watercolor red roses all around it that were this style, and it was a lot of fun. Now let's go ahead and talk about leaves. Our leaves can be a bunch of different ways. You can make them thin, you can make them fat, you can make it a combination of the two. You could have two leaves together. They could have a center. They could have the veining. You could just do something basic. You can color it in and add different colors. You layer it. This is probably my favorite to do because it really gives it a fun touch. So add all different colors to your flowers. Now let's do a different style flower. Let's go ahead and use purple. And let's use a marker. Maybe you have just typical markers at home. This is another fun one. This is going to be more of a hydrangea. This is something I made a long time ago, but it's made with paint, and you just start with a beautiful basic flower shape, and then you go on top of it with these motions that we're about to show you. So pretend you're drawing a cloud or lips of a fish, and it's almost like a butterfly. That's going to be your center. Then we're going to go and do the other side of it. Yours doesn't have to match mine, but we're going to do that same idea where I'm just going to give another layer to my flower. Then I'm going to do it again. I'm going to start in the middle and bounce until I reach the second one, that middle second. You see what I'm doing? Start in the middle, make your fun shapes to that center of the next petal. And as you get more comfortable, you're going to want your leaves to kind of come away from the center, because that's what's going to give it that true artistic shape. Adding color just makes it come alive. Here we go. So sometimes I make mine squiggly lines to try to add that texture to it. Sometimes I color it in all the way. It's part of the fun. Your flowers never have to be the same twice. Or they can be, totally up to you. Add some of your leaves. Let's go back to our regular tip flower, or marker. Throw some color in there, grab something else. Ta-da! And we're done. So let's go back to our envelope and let's add one of these flowers to the back. So I started with my triangle. And let's go back to a typical marker again. Let's use this one. I'm gonna do a triangle and I'm gonna go bloop, 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 my 3 little loops. Start in my middle. And I'm just jumping until you have the shape you love. Color is not my favorite, but that's okay because I can layer on top of it and make it into something fun. And there you go. You can color it more, you can keep it simple, but there is a really fun personalized card. I love that kind of thing. So let's take a break from flowers. Again, you have a lot of different flower options if you look at the pieces that I'm sending you. A lot of different fun greenery items. Love it. Let's go ahead and look at some banners. Banners can be tricky at first because you're really mixing curved and straight lines, but let's try this style right here. So we're going to start with a rainbow shape, and let's see, what kind of tool do I want to use? I want to use something that my eyes can really see what I'm doing, and it's going to probably mess up, and you know what? That's okay. So let's give it a try anyway. I'm going to do it in permanent marker. just so you can see really well. But we're gonna go for this one here. This has a nice wide rainbow. So one trick is you put your marker down and only your wrist is gonna move, and it's gonna give you this shape. And then I'm gonna move my arm down and do it again. See how I have the exact same lines, and that's because I had a pivot. So that's my trick for you. My hand was still, but only my wrist moved, giving me that same exact shape. So if we look at this, they kind of gave it a fun bubble. So give your ends a bubble. You're gonna come about a quarter of the way down, fire out. You're gonna make your end of your tail, and you're gonna actually bring the end of your tail further beyond here. And we're gonna tuck it back in all the way up here. We're gonna tuck it, not tuck it in, but draw a line here to connect. And then this right here is gonna come down. And in order to show that this is actually behind it, we're gonna shade it in. And now it looks like a ribbon that's flowing and folding. So now we're gonna do the same for the other side. So they kind of showed that they had an embellishment here to show that it was 3D. And then we're gonna fire out from that area. So fire out, give my fun ending, and bring it back in and up. Now this one is a little bit trickier, where we're gonna follow this curve right here and we're gonna connect it to here. So ooh, boop. So you see how that's a curve here? And then we're gonna shade in what would be behind the banner, like the back side of that banner. I love that they added these little tick marks. I think that adds a lot of fun detail. So I'm gonna add that to mine too. And there you have it. We have our first banner. Let's go ahead and write Liberty in there. Why not? You can choose whatever you want to write in there, but I'm going to do a red Liberty. Ta-da! Liberty! How fun was that? Let's go ahead and do something different. Let's add, what do we want to add? How about something fun and simple like this up here? So I'm going to grab a different shade of blue, and we're just going to start with a typical, almost like it looks like a robot, but an incomplete rectangle. We're going to give it that fun carrot bottom. We're going to add these fun lines here as a border. And then we're going to try to make it look like it's hanging down from a wall. Look how simple that was. Boop. And now we can put something really cool here. So I'm going to put L-U-O-A in there. Yay! Okay, let's look for another one. What is one we would use? You want to try something really challenging? These right here are really fun, but also tricky. So let's give it a try. This has 2 layers, so this would be perfect if you had something that has 2 words or a beginning and an end. Let's see. Let's make it out of gray. So we're gonna have 2 areas here. I'm first gonna start with my white area. I'm just gonna make 2 rounded, I like to think of them as hot dogs, but they're obviously not. Now let's start at the top. They have this area firing out up here. Now mine is a little too high. It should have really come out this way, but that's okay. Artwork doesn't have to be exactly the same, and we're just using this as a guide. We're going to shade it in because this is technically the back side of the banner, and we want to show that shadow. Now, super easy over here, we're going to come and dip it in, and then right around dip it in, and then shade to symbol the back. I guess signal, not symbol. And then we're going to start from here, and we're going to fire out again. Add your shading. I'm going to put my tick marks again because I just think that's a really fun extra embellishment you can add. And let's go ahead and write in there. I'm going to need something thin because I made mine pretty thin in here. Let's do online learning. How fun. Okay, so we're getting pretty good over here when we look at our banners. So again, these are something you can print off. They were totally free. You can also Google your own. Just look up banners or lettering, embellishments, design, free. Those are my keywords. Let's go ahead and work on some flowers. Let's add something fun. I love this one. I feel like it's something you could do in all sorts of colors. So we're gonna start with a loopy kind of V shape. And I'm gonna do green, because I really like green lately. And we want that fun Y shape. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Now these leaves, can you see that very well? Okay, looks like it. Are going to be this tear shape look. So it has a rounded bottom and then up again to a pointed top. So we're going to make that shape over and over again, almost like an almond. It's okay to be inspired by other people's work. It's also okay for your work to look different, even if you are inspired by someone else's. This right now is just testing your skills. You're practicing. You're expanding your creativity. Now I am seeing that I really could use some practice making my tear shape, because not all of my leaves look the same. And when I look at this designer, they definitely have it down. Now one of the fun designs that they added to it is they just put this little line that shoots right up the leaf. And it really just shows an extra layer of detail on your leaves, on your embellishment, your design. Ah, how fun. This is a beautiful one. Let's try this out. Now I'm going to make it a little bigger. I'm going to try this one out. So it kind of has a kidney shape heart. And then they start at the bottom and another heart shape, a thinner heart shape, and another heart shape. Not my favorite, but you know what? I'm learning and I'm trying new things. That's okay. Then they have another one over here, and it's another heart shape. And another heart shape. A loop around. It looks like a lot of fish lips to me. I really could use some practice on this. And that is what I would call okay. So let's add some of this green here. Now my green kind of looks not so green, I'd say. Let's add a layer of a different shade of green. Oh yeah, that's better. And I'm just gonna fire out. liked that one better. So you'll come in to find how you like to make your leaves. How does your hand, your muscles like to work? This is not my favorite on mine, but I'm learning how to do something different. Usually when I do leaves, I'm a much longer, skinnier kind of leaf designer. Sometimes I'll write a word. Let's just do, hey. And let's just pretend that we want to add something fun to it. So I will do just this parenthesis look and just a bunch of ups and downs on there. And maybe you could add some dots to it. Another fun one is another parenthesis. And you can kind of do this the whole way. You could choose to color it in at the end if you wanted to. I'm sure you've seen this design a lot. Woo! It looks a little wonky there, but that's okay. It takes practice. It takes practice. It all depends on what look you're going for. What are you trying to create? Do you love it? Do you not? And that's okay. You don't have to like anything. Something I love to do is I add clip art to everything I do. We're hosting a really fun Mother's Day event, and I have these really silly straws that have flamingos on them. And so I just added a silly looking straw that kind of looks like a candy cane, but when you see the straws, you're like, oh, that's definitely what it is. And then a fun flamingo. We got a new dog. If you were here last time, you got to meet him. So I draw Wally all of the time, and so I love doing him for clip art. Daisies are always a really great fun thing. Let's go ahead and design another card using the different things that we learned. So if you want to grab an envelope, and we can do it together. Let's do a banner for their name. Let's go with, what would be a good banner for someone's name? Because we kind of want to have enough space. Maybe this deal one right here. We want something straight. I mean, you could do any of these vintage because you could put their address below and that would be okay. Maybe we should do that. Let's go ahead and do the one we already did. We're going to put it on an envelope and then come up with an address. So I'm going to keep it handy so I can see. Last time I made one, I was able to use my whole hand, my whole wrist. I'm not going to have that space here, and that's okay because it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to give it a loop, not a loop, but you know, a whoop and a whoop. All right, let's look at, they kind of have this bumping in, firing out at 3/4, coming up, looping, and fill in your shadow. Come over here, we're going to fire out. Now, is mine perfect? Oh, no, it's not. But you know what? It's a lot of fun. So let's say I'm going to send it to myself. Let's do that. We're going to put Rachel, maybe Rachel S. Okay, now my address is 749. I don't know if it'll fit in this space, but you know what? That's okay. New Wharf Road. Now I will tell you, it's great to embellish their name, but you really want your address to be as close to what the post office asked for just to make sure it gets there. I live in a city called Milford. Now I want to do my really fun bottom where I said my zip code spaces out. So Milford is a really tiny city name. So I'm going to actually write the whole word Delaware here. There we go. Boom. So I could make a really fun, let's say, let's draw Wally. I'm gonna do a fun little sticker over here. Here's his big head. He has a cute black nose and eyes, obviously. And then he has shaggy ears. And I'm gonna grab a brownish tone and a yellow. And I'm just gonna start filling him in. And now he's not supposed to be perfect. It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be fun. Fill it with yellow. Is he perfect? No. Is he gonna make someone smile? Yes, for sure. And then you would just put your return address up here. And you can make your name look beautiful. Let's pretend your name is Elizabeth. And then you could just put your address here. Boom, done. You can use the back if you want to. You could have put your return address on this center area. You could take up this whole space. That would be beautiful. You could totally fill that up, absolutely. No problem. You could put another banner that says, I miss you. You could put a flower on the back. You could really be creative with your envelopes. It's just a lot of fun. I think that's it. So we have all the different inspiration pieces. We have what we tried, what we learned. You can keep these print offs if you want. You can go searching. You can buy things off the internet, totally up to you. You can get real flowers from outside. You can practice learning from there. You can get wrapping paper. So many different things to try. Can't wait to see what you create.